And we are live! Good evening po sa inyong lahat mga kaguro. Now, I missed all of you. And of course, welcome back to our live stream. Tonight, we are going to have a very special guest. And of course, if this is your first time to watch us, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, of course, is Gurong Pinoy. We have so many videos on YouTube that can help you pass the let. And of course, you can also watch us on Facebook right now. And so if you are watching us on Facebook, please do make sure that you share our video, tag your friends, start a watch party so that, of course, we can reach out to more people. And just like you, we can also help them pass the let. Okay, topic is very special. This is English, and we are going to tackle this with Coach Aryan. Make sure again that you follow us on Facebook, and of course, you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. I believe we have some members right now. We have some kaguro ng mga LPTs now who are going to take their English proficiency test. So kaway-kaway po sa ating mga EPT takers dyan. And of course, this is still going to be part of the preparation for our members who will be taking their LET, who will be taking their LET in September, okay? So make sure that you have your pencils, your pens, your notebooks ready. And we are going to start. Without further ado, I give you our coach tonight, our beautiful coach, Coach Aryan.
Sharing. Share. One moment.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm now sharing. Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Present. Present. Loading. Can you see my slide now?
Yes, ma'am A.
Ma'am Mac, can you see my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me proceed. First, let's begin with a prayer. Everyone, let's have a brief moment of silence. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for giving us this chance to listen and to learn. Thank you for allowing us to work towards our dreams. We offer to you our struggles and efforts. May tonight's session be meaningful and productive. Please heal those who are sick, especially those who are suffering from COVID-19. Bless those who take care of them, Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself as mentioned by Ma'am Mac. I'm Coach Aryan. You may call me A. My students call me Ma'am A. You may also do the same. And I have taught for 16 years already in junior high school and senior high school. I've spent 7 years as supervisor of English teachers in different levels in the junior high school as well as in the senior high school. In 2016, I received my Master of Arts in English Language and Literature Teaching from Ateneo de Manila University. We call that MAELLT. And a long time ago, I graduated from West Visayas State University, Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. I graduated with honors. I was also one of the Ayala Young Leaders of the Philippines in 2001. And when I graduated, the school looked over all my courses in English and gave me a Proficiency in English awardee. So I'm delighted to be invited by Ma'am Mac as your coach for this evening and tomorrow night. Here are my expectations. Firstly, I will expect everyone to participate actively in tonight's session. I'd like you to be able to answer the questions well. If you cannot answer them well, if you make mistakes, that's perfectly fine. I feel that tonight is the perfect chance for you to make those mistakes and not make them in the actual licensure test. Would you agree with me? Also, I'd like you to type your answers in the comment section so I can see whether you understand what I'm talking about or you are refreshed with the topic that we're discussing. So, as mentioned by Ma'am Mac, I'd like you to be able to have a pen and paper beside you so that you'll be able to take note of important concepts. All set, everyone? So tonight's session, for tonight's session, I briefly recall my experience when I was in first year college in West Visayas State University. At the beginning of the term, I noticed that my older friends in the publication, because I joined the publication, one particular person surprised me because when we received our class cards, he was going through his class cards and he was saying, for this sem, I have the following subjects. And he starts enumerating all those. And then he says, for this subject, I'm going to get an uno. That's equivalent to a 97 something, right? 97 to 100%. And he mentions that in the courses that he will take, there will be only two subjects or two courses where he will get 1.25. The rest, he is sure to get a flat 1. And I was then perplexed because I understood we were just beginning with the term, and he was so sure. He was really confident about the grades that he's going to get. And I asked him, so how and why? And I don't understand. And he says, well, this is how I do things. To me, the end, the results are already clear and are defined long before I begin. So I'd like to share that with you because truly at the end of the term, when we received all our grades, that same person received even better than the grades that he projected. So the mind is a very powerful thing. You can actually set, as you may have already experienced in college, right? You can actually set clear goals, and the things or the days or the activities that you spend daily, if you spend it inching towards those goals, then the goals in the end, the fruit of your labor will be sweet. So I'd like to share this with you. This is from Stephen Covey. I'm sure some, if not many of you, are already familiar with this. This is part of his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you have not, then it's a good time for you to search that book, have a copy, and go through it before you begin your teaching profession. Okay, all set? Are we ready to begin? Let's have this first item. I will read the item to you, and I will expect you to type your answer in the comment section. Number 1, he blank do or does the chores around the house. Type your answers, please. And this, or for this number, the correct answer is does. When we speak of the word does, we're looking at the relationship between the subject and the verb in this sentence. And in the licensure and in the test that you're going to take, make sure that all the subjects and the verbs must agree with one another in number. This is the most common, the SV agreement is the most common type of test when we're dealing with English. So your ability to be able to identify the subject is crucial. And here the subject is easy. You can identify it, right? He. So the word does. Let's go through this first. If the subject is singular, like the subject he, then its verb must also be singular. There are other examples that I will give in a little while. But if the subject is plural, then its verb must also be plural. Majority of the items for English will revolve around the subject-verb agreement. And there are easy copies. You can easily search the rules on the internet. Make sure that you're familiar with them. Tonight, we're going through a few of them, and tomorrow we will finish the other half. So let's review. When we speak of the verb does, this is singular. You can easily memorize that because the word does has an S, right? So in your mind, if you forget or if you get rattled during the licensure, you just think, does has the word S. Therefore, I can easily connect it to a singular subject. The word do is for plural. As in the examples, he does the chores. He, singular, does, singular verb. She does her homework. She is also a singular pronoun. That's why we're also using does. And the next one, it. It is a singular pronoun as well. It does the job. So these three, he, she, and it, are all singular. Let's have the plural ones. Do, as in we we for the plural pronoun subject. We do the right thing. Also, we have they do the tasks. So here, we and they are plural subjects. They're plural pronouns, personal pronouns. That's why the verbs that we used are do. So, there are exceptions to these that we follow. Diba, when we say does, singular, do, plural. But in this example, I do, we understand I to mean singular. But the verb that we use for it is do. Another example, if you're the teacher and you're pointing to the student or you're assigning something to the student, when you tell the student, you do the job, the subject do, the pronoun do here refers only to one person. Therefore, it is singular, but we use the word do. So this is an exception, right? So it is singular. You're referring to one person, but you're using the verb do. You also use the same because the word you can mean two things. It can mean that you're talking to one person or you're talking to many students, as in a classroom. Like when you tell your students, you do the job. In that case, then you're dealing with everyone in the classroom or a certain group or groups of students. So the word you here may mean singular or plural, and the word you does not usually follow the rules that we have for singular and plural. Okay, so you have to take note of them specifically. Next, for number 2, everyone type your answer in the chat or in the comment section. Economics blank is are actually interesting. Waiting for you to type your answers. Yes, Ma'am Mek, I see your message. Thank you. Still waiting for more participants to type their answers. When we speak of the word economics, eyes on the screen, then we will use the word is. The rule says nouns such as civics or social studies, right? Mathematics, physics, and others. You have the subject ethics, right? Measles and news require singular verbs. So these words, even though they appear plural, because they have the S at the end, we have to use the word is because they mean only one subject, one disease, or news in general. So here are other examples. Physics is my favorite subject. Physics subject is your verb. And then the news is. So news is your subject, and then your verb is the word is. For number 3, maybe you should type the number and the answer, right? So I will expect you now to type 3 is or are. Left-handed scissors, blank, on the teacher's table. So I'll be expecting you to type 3 dot or period, and then is or are. Waiting for more answers in the chat. I see that most of you, at least those who typed, got number 2 correctly. When we speak of subjects like scissors, eyes on the screen, the correct answer is the verb are. What's the rule here? When we speak of nouns such as scissors, tweezers, trousers, pants, and shears. Shears are a form of scissors, right? For example, you have garden shears. So these are the big metallic scissors that we use in the garden. So these require plural verbs. You might want to note these. If they come in pairs, if they come in sets of 2, then we use the plural verbs. So your clue is that there are 2 parts to these things. Unless, of course, in the exam, it will, something like this will appear. When the exam states a pair of scissors, a pair of tweezers. In that case, your subject is pair. Therefore, the verb should be singular. But if the statements appear as they do now on the screen, then you will have to use the plural. Okay, the exception is if you have the word a pair of at the beginning. I'm going through your comments. Some of you made a mistake in this number. That's perfectly fine. That's our purpose this evening, right? We have to learn or be refreshed with what you've learned in grade school, in junior high school, and even in college. Let's proceed. Now for number 4. The city mayor, together with the councillors and barangay captains, welcome or welcomes the Australian ambassador. Type your answer in the comment section. Please put number 4. So your answer should be 4 dot welcome or 4 dot welcomes. Waiting for responses in the chat. I see some of you answering welcome only. I see some of you answering welcomes. Maybe a few more answers before I reveal the correct answer. Here, our answer should be welcomes with an S. Why is that? First, we identify the subject in this sentence. So in number 4, our subject is city mayor, right? And city mayor means only one person. Therefore, singular. Now, if we take a look at the rules, when we speak of expressions such as with, so for example, you have a sentence like, the city mayor with the barangay captains, plural, or as with the example, the city mayor together with, or if you have something like the city mayor including all the barangay captains, or the city mayor accompanied by, or the city mayor in addition to, if you apply all these highlighted in yellow, we easily associate this with tarpaulins, right? Would you believe tarpaulin is one of the correct ways to pronounce that word which we're familiar with? If you put that as a welcoming streamer or banner, even if the list of names is a kilometer long, for example, you say, the city mayor with Days Hotel, all the barangay captains, all the owners of these restaurants. Even if the list is very long, if the subject is only city mayor, then the verb has to be singular. It will change meaning in this example. If you say the city mayors, plural, so even if you add together with, including, accompanied by, in addition to, etc., that's the only time that you will have a plural subject. Or if you have the previous slide, as in the city mayor, and the connector is and. So if you say the city mayor and the councillors, the barangay captains, etc., then the verb should be plural. So unless you see the conjunction or the connector and, then the verb must be singular because your subject, city mayor, is singular. Okay? So, let's have number 5. For number 5, the graduation committee blank decide or decides on the flow of activities. Type in the comment section, please. 5 point or dot decide or 5 point or dot decides. Hi, Ma'am Mek. Yes, I was shocked when one of my students told me, Ma'am A, it's not tarpaulin, it's tarpaulin. And I checked, and truly one of the pronunciations for that is, one of the accepted pronunciations is tarpaulin. Okay, thank you for your responses. Let's now check. It should be decides with an S. Here, when we speak of collective nouns mean that you have more than one person in a group, but this group is considered singular in general. So if the group is considered singular, if the collective noun is considered singular as subject, then you will have to take a singular verb as well. There's an exception to this rule because when you say group team, committee, class, or family, but there are many members in that group. But if the members of the group do not act as one, meaning they don't function as a group, but the members of the group are acting as individuals, then the verb is plural. In the example, for example, you have committee members have been arguing for days. So in this case, they're not making the decision as one, but you can already imagine that the different members are citing points against each other. They're raising arguments. They're raising points against each other. So we say committee members have been, have is plural, right? Have been arguing because they're not acting as one. But if they do decide as one, then you can say the committee has decided. The word has there is singular. So this is very important. For collective nouns, if all the members are acting as one, singular. If they make a decision, etc. If the members are not agreeing with each other, if they're fighting, as in a jury, those who decide as a group, then the verb has to be plural. Okay? So the first 5 items are the easier ones. I'd like to add more examples for collective nouns. We have bunch, diba? As in the bunch of flowers given to you last February 14, Valentine's Day, or a bunch of keys. We're familiar with school of fish, right? When we were in grade school, in grade 3 particularly, when we were introduced to school of fish, we're dealing with collective nouns or groups of animals. But there are other more interesting terms. For example, I particularly recall a convocation of eagles or a congress of baboons. And I'm not saying our congressmen are baboons, but that's really the collective noun for baboons. And then we have a family of sardines, a Roomba of rattlesnakes. We can imagine the snakes moving sexily, right? As in the Roomba dance. We also have an army of caterpillars and also a horde of hamsters. Hamsters in general are cute, fluffy, and nice creatures, but the term will suggest as if they're fighting, as if they're orcs, as if they're the Uruk-hai in LOTR, right? Are you familiar with, of course you're familiar with Lord of the Rings, right? A horde of warriors, for example. I got all these from jellyfish.com. In my future slides, you will see small labels at the bottom. That's where I get my images and some quotes. Let's proceed. The shells blank you collected are now displayed. Choose A, B, C, or D. Please make sure to put number 6. I see some of you entering the session just now. Good evening and welcome to our session. Waiting for responses to number 6. Let me see. Number 6. Is it A, who? Is it B, which? C, where? Or D, whose? I see a variety of answers. Some of you answering letter C and some of you answering letter B. The correct answer here is which. The term which is a relative pronoun which relates to or which connects which you collected to the term shells. So when we're dealing with relative pronouns, if the arrow moves towards a person, a term which deals with people, then you use who or that. If the arrow goes towards or connects it to things, objects, or concepts, then you use which or that. And if it shows possession, then we use whose. So the term where, I see some of you answering letter C. Letter C, where will be used for places. For example, you say, the mall where His art was displayed. So mall is referred to by where. Or you say, the school where I send my children. So where refers to school. There's another relative pronoun that's not listed here. It's when. So when you say the time when, the year when, the month when, so any expression of time, you can use a relative pronoun to relate to it or to connect to it. Very rarely, and I'm sure it will not appear in your licensure exam, when you say the reason why. So the relative pronoun why, we draw an arrow towards the term reason. So in this case, let's have another example. Alexa, blank, bags sold for 2,000 pesos each, was happy with the sales. Is it letter A, who, letter B, whose, letter C, that, or letter D, which? Type 7 and then your letter of answer. 7A, 7B, 7C, or 7D. Waiting for more responses in the chat. Let's check. It should be whose. Here we are dealing with property. Whose bags were sold for 2,000 pesos each? And if you take a look at the one inside the box, possessive, possession means property, right? So we say, Alexa, whose bags? Because it's her bags. When we ask whose bags, then the answer is Alexa's. So for 7, the correct answer is letter B. I think many of you got it correctly. For number 8, everyone is, are, has, or were expected to come in formal attire. Is it 8, letter A is, everyone is expected to come? Is it letter B, are, everyone are expected to come? Letter C, everyone has expected to come? Or letter D, everyone were expected to come in formal attire? I need more responses for number 8. Maybe a few more before I proceed. Okay, let's check. When we say everyone, then we use the singular verb is. So for words like, and you might want to take note of this, for pronouns, indefinite pronouns that end with one or that like no one, anyone, someone, everyone, all these, they all end in one, right? And all those that end with the word body, as in nobody, anybody, somebody, everybody. In fact, when you say something, everything, including those, nothing. So one, body, and thing, the verb that you should be used in the sentence should be singular. So we say everyone is expected to come. You may replace it with any of these inside the box, as in, no one is expected to come in formal attire. Or when you say somebody is expected to come in formal attire, you can replace any of these because they all require a singular verb. So for number 8, the correct answer is letter A. Those who entered later than our opening earlier, please indicate the number that you're answering so I get to track if your answer is correct or not. So please put number 8, for example, 8A, 8B, 8C, or 8D. Thank you. So here we have someone is late to class, or another example, no one is above the law. So all those that end with one will require the singular verb. For number 9, the number of people that we will serve is, are, were, or has been 210. Waiting for your responses. The number of people that we will serve is 210, are 210, were 210 or has been 210. Take a look at the words that you see in the given. So far, I see some of you answering is. Some of you are also answering are. Maybe a few more responses before I reveal the answer. The number of people that we will serve is 210. We're looking at the specific number. So there's a specific number of 210. I'll go back to this in a little while. For now, I will proceed to a number. A number of students blank late to class. Is it a number of students is late to class? A number of students are late to class? Or a number of students were late to class? And letter D, a number of students has been late to class. Let's see, what's your answer to number 10? Type your answers, please. So far, I see some of you answering B. A number of students are. Some of you answering A. A number of students is. And a few students answering a number of students has been. Are you ready? The correct answer, a number of students were late to class. So you're talking about this number of students from a different time perspective. Let's clarify, and please take note. When we speak of the number, then we refer to a singular. We use the singular verb. From the comments, I see Miss Charlene. Miss Charlene, yes, you're right. The number, singular, when you say a number of, meaning there are several. For example, a number of students were not able to submit their requirement. So a number of means several, or there are a few of them. But when we say the number, when you say the number, you're pertaining to a specific number. So it should be one, or for example, you say, the number of enrollees is 2,000. You're referring to 2,000, which is a specific number. So that's what we mean when we say the number. But when we say a number of, then we're dealing with several. Obviously, more than one or two. Okay? If you're confused, don't worry. I'll put in another example of this one in tomorrow's session. So here I have another example. The number of customers is 13. 13 is a specific number. That's why you use the. But when you say a number of customers were not satisfied with the pizza. So a number of means there were several of them. Okay? I almost said thumbs up if you agree with me. I'm used to Zoom in our school. So this is my first time to use StreamYard, and by habit, I almost always ask my student, thumbs up if you understand. Please forgive me. Number 11. Here we have the sentence, earlier, Melissa's mom blanked the cake into 8 pieces. So is it Melissa's mom cut the cake into 8 pieces? Melissa's mom cuts the cake into 8 pieces? Or Melissa's mom cutted the cake into 8 pieces? Oh, I see you have a thumbs up here. Sorry. And Melissa's mom will cut the cake into 8 pieces. Take a look at the given words and see if you have a clue. For 11, I see some of you answering A and some of you answering B. What about the rest? Please type your answer. For number 11, maybe a few more. Waiting for a few more replies. Here, the correct answer is cut, letter A. I'll explain. So in this sentence, we remember the different forms of the verb. So we have the base form, which means that you're not adding anything. You're not adding S, you're not adding ED or D. or you're not adding ing to the verb. So it's called base. For past, this is for actions that were already finished, right? So for past participle, we have has, have, or had. We include that. So we say has cut, have cut, or had cut. And in number 11, we take a look at the word earlier. And earlier means the action is already completed. So this is past, simple past action. That's why the correct answer is letter A, cut. If I remove the word earlier in the sentence, if the sentence only says, Melissa's mom blanked the cake into 8 pieces, then letter B may be considered. But with the presence of the word earlier, which signals time in the past, or which signals completion of action in the past, then we have to stick with letter A. Did you understand that? Thumbs up if you did. So, when we're dealing with verbs, there are many kinds, but we have regular verbs, those that will make use of D or ED in their simple past and past participle. So we have bake, baked, has baked, have baked, or had baked. And then we also have another example as in march. We add ED to form the past. Marched, has marched, have marched, or had marched. These are regular because you can predict the form in the past by simply adding D or ED, and the past participle most often follows the simple past form. But the more exciting ones are called irregular verbs. There's no way to predict their past form, simple past form, and past participle form. So you have to familiarize yourselves with them, or you have to memorize them, because this frequently appears in the licensure. So make sure that you study irregular verbs. You can do that on your own. I will also add more examples tomorrow. As in the example, drink. In the comment section, please write down what is the past form and past participle form of drink. So I will expect 2 answers. You will type 2 answers right now. So 2 answers connected by a hyphen, that's acceptable. Or by a comma, separated by a comma, that's also acceptable. Or separated by a slash, that's also acceptable. Waiting for more responses. What is the past form and what is the past participle form of drink? I see many of you answering drunk only. There has to be 2 answers that you will type. Give me the simple past and then the past participle form. Incorrect order. Should be simple past first and then past participle next. So far, among the responses, Sir Sonny Bokiren. I'm not sure if I pronounced your last name correctly, sir, but your answer is correct. Sir Sonny Bokiren, past tense of drink is drank, and past participle is has drunk, or have drunk, or had drunk. So this is the correct order. Drink, drank, drunk. It's important that we pronounce the words correctly in the simple past and past participles, or else our students will simply hear drink, drunk, drunk, right? It should be drink, drank, drunk, to differentiate the A in drank and the U in drunk. Let's have another one. Give me the past and the past participle forms of give. Type your answer separated by a comma or connected by a hyphen. In the comment section, past participle form of give, G-I-V-E. I'm not so sure if you can see the bottom part of my screen of the slide right now. Waiting for you. It's okay if you don't know, and it's okay if your answers are wrong, because this is your chance to learn from this session. Okay, so give. What's the past tense of give? I'm going through your responses. Let me choose one. The first one, Sir Loreto Agbayani Balikaw Jr. The correct answer is give, gave, has given, have given, had given. Sir, your answer is correct. The others also gave me correct answers. They also typed correct answers. We'll have more of this tomorrow. Okay, now let's answer number 12. Karen has already blank crabs and scallops. Is it Karen has already eat crabs and scallops? Karen has already eats crabs and scallops? Karen has already ate crabs and scallops? Or Karen has already eaten crabs and scallops? Type your answer for number 12. Write the number and the letter of your answer. Maybe a few more. I see some of you answering letter C and some of you answering letter D. Somebody answering letter A. All in. The correct answer for number 12 is eaten. We take a look at the given. There is the word has. Diba? For the past participle, the third column that we had earlier, Karen has already eaten. So we recall this one. The base form is eat. The past form is ate. But because of the presence of the word has, you have to have the past participle form, has eaten. So letter D is our correct answer, eaten. Okay? So your clue there is the word has. Next, the dishwasher has blank 3 plates so far. Is it has break 3 plates so far? Has breaks 3 plates so far? Has broke 3 plates so far? Has broken 3 plates so far? Number 13, type your answer. For 13, which letter do you think is the correct one? Has break, has breaks, has broke, or has broken? The correct answer, I see some of you still answering. Okay, for number 13, should be broken, right? Letter D. So the base form is break, the past form is broke, and the past participle form has broken. Okay? So those who answered letter C, that is in the simple past. So take note of the given. The given has the verb has, so you put it together. It should be has broken. Thumbs up if you understood. So if the sentence contains has and then it's missing the main verb, has, have, or had, then you use the past participle. Okay? Let's proceed. Let me see. For number 14, we blank not drawn animals and human figures yet. Is it we has not drawn animals and human figures yet? We have not drawn animals. We do not drawn animals, or we did not drawn animals. Type your answer for number 14. 14 plus the letter. Waiting for more responses in the comment section. For number 14, yes, I see your answers coming in. Maybe a few more replies. Most of you answering letter B, that is have. Some of you answering letter D. A few of you answering letter C. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer is have. So when we speak of the plural subject we, take a look at the highlighted part, the yellow part in the lower portion of the screen. So we use has for singular. That's has plus the past participle form. And then if the subject is plural, like the word we, diba? That's a plural personal pronoun. So we have to use the verb have. The word drawn is connected to the base form draw. The past form of that is drew. So the past participle form is has broken. But we're not using has in this number because our subject is we. So we say we have not drawn. Why did I use broken here? Please ignore the last column. It should have been have or has drawn, not broken. Number 14. Are we good with number 14? So now I will we'll go through the different tenses of the verb quickly. So we have the simple tenses. We also have the perfect tenses. We have the third one, continuous or progressive tenses. And then the last one, the perfect continuous or the perfect progressive tenses. Sir Wilson, I see your comment. Yeah, it's not supposedly, it's not broken. The term is wrong. It should be drawn. I will make corrections to that slide. Okay? So, these are the 4 different tenses, and for the third and the fourth ones, the term progressive is used in some books. So we say progressive tenses, and for number 4, in some books we have perfect progressive tenses. So quickly, we all understand that under the simple tenses, we have present simple. In books from the UK, they call it not simple present, but present simple, the opposite. Present simple, present past, simple past, and then simple future. So these are interchangeable terms. When you say simple present and present simple, they mean the same. So whether the book is from the United States or from the UK, they just mean the same things. Let's have these. For simple present, we have actions that are happening right now, or actions that happen regularly. We may also include facts. So for example, if you're saying the earth revolves around the sun, so that's a fact. Or when you say the earth is a sphere, the term is, the verb is used because that's a fact. That's a scientific fact. So for simple past, we have actions that happened before the present, happened before now, or conditions or things that existed before now. So we're dealing with past. For simple future, these are actions or conditions that will begin and end in the future, meaning beyond now. So this is basic. I hope nobody's confused when we deal with simple tenses. Now, some examples. When we speak of catch, the verb catch, dogs catch biscuits. The subject dogs is plural, hence we use catch, the base form. But when we say catches, a dog, singular, catches biscuits, then we have to use the base form plus the es, or in some verbs, base plus s, to differentiate and to correctly match the verb and the subject. So for plural subjects, use the base form. For singular subjects, add s or es. For simple past, because we're dealing with an irregular verb, we don't use ed because catch is irregular. So we say dogs caught biscuits, a dog caught biscuits. If you notice, the verb does not, or you're using the same form of the verb even though the subject is singular or even though the subject is plural. Doesn't matter. It remains the same. And for the future tense, just like what you had in the past, the verb will plus the base form is applicable to both plural and singular subjects. So dogs will catch, and then a dog will catch. Take note of the time expressions used. Under simple past, we have the time expression last week. Another one is yesterday. In the column simple future, you have the time expressions later and tomorrow. So these signal the time. And then you will have a clue as to which verb tense you'll use. But the more exciting part is the perfect tenses, where you have present perfect. That's why in UK they have present simple, present perfect. It makes sense, right? And they have past simple, past perfect. And they also have future simple, future perfect. To differentiate the three, we have these. When we speak of the present perfect tense, we're dealing with action that began in the past or that started in the past and continues to the present or has an effect in the present. So to concretize that, take a look at this diagram. The source is shown below. When we speak of present perfect tense, sometime in the past, or specifically a specific time is mentioned in the past, continues up to now. In some illustrations, you will see present perfect as those that revolve around now or just now. So let's have these. This one first. In the first example, she has worked here for 10 years. We're not using she works here for 10 years because of the time expression 10 years. 10 years mean 10 years ago up to the present. She's still working here. So we're using has worked for this one to signify the perfect tense. Also, here are some time expressions. The list is not exhaustive. I only gave 3 examples, I think. So when you use the word for, as in for 2 hours, he has practiced for 2 hours. It means 2 hours ago up to the present, up to now, the person has been practicing. So he is a singular personal pronoun, right? So we use has. And then the past participle form, practiced. Another one, since, as in since 2010, meaning from 2010 up to the present, we have lived here. So the action of living started in the past and continues up to the present. So this time we use the term have because we is a personal pronoun that is plural, right? It's not singular, unlike he in the previous example. We have lived, and lived is a past participle form. And another one, the term yet. Yet means until now. So when you say she has not arrived yet, it means until now she's not yet here. So she, singular, so we use has and not have. And then not arrived. Arrived is the past participle form. Are there questions? You can type your questions actually, and if I have a chance, I will go through your responses in the comment section. If the concept of the present perfect is still a bit unclear to you, I hope that the next slides will clarify it. Okay? So you can tell me, ma'am, I'm lost. I don't understand anything. Can you please slow down? You can type that in the chat or in the comment section. Let's proceed. This time, past perfect. So when we deal with the past perfect, this means action that has been completed before another action. So this sounds a bit complicated, but when illustrated, it's actually very simple and very useful, specifically to teachers. So when we're dealing with a timeline, where now, of course, signifies present, then there are 2 X's in the past, not your ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. We're dealing with the 2 markers in time. In the example, I had finished the report when he arrived. The one that are highlighted in colors, finished and arrived, we can put them in the timeline. So which one do you think happened first? Type in the comment section, please. Between the actions had finished and arrived, which one happened first? So type arrived or type had finished in the comment section now. Which one happened first? Is it had finished or arrived? I see Miss Danica de los Santos answering. How about the others? It seems that half of you are answering arrived, and half of you are also answering had finished. More people are answering had finished right now. Let's see. We put that in a timeline. Eyes on the screen. On the lower portion, had finished happened first, and then arrived happened later. But both of them happened in the past. Eyes on the screen, please. Both of them happened before the present. The earlier action, finishing, has to have had, the word had, because it was completed before the action, simple past, arrived. So if there are two actions, like I'm sure within the day, you were able to perform many actions before you joined tonight's session, right? For example, in the morning, of course, you took a bath, right? So take a bath. And then after taking a bath, I'm sure you ate lunch in the middle of the day, right? So eat lunch. So take a bath and eat lunch were two past actions completed before now that you're attending. Okay? So if you were to construct a sentence involving the two actions, it should be I had taken a bath. I had taken. Had plus take, took, taken. I had taken a bath before I ate lunch. So the first verb has to have the verb had, and then the second one should be simple past. Let's have more examples. Here, Jenny sold the cakes that she had baked. In the comment section, type which one is the earlier action. Which action happened first or was completed first? Is it sold or had baked? Waiting for your responses. Which one happened first? Is it sold or had baked? Very good. This time, I see more of you answering had baked. That's the correct answer. So here, if we put this in a timeline, now being the present, there were two actions that were finished or completed earlier. And the earlier action is or needs the term had. So Jenny had baked. Of course, you have to bake the cakes first before you get to sell them, right? Jenny sold the cakes that she had baked. So far, so good. Is it a bit clearer now? Thumbs up if you understood the concept of the past perfect tense. So two different actions, and then one of them is earlier or done or completed earlier. So it needs had. So on the screen, you can see had baked is now labeled as past perfect, and then sold is labeled as simple past. So that's the difference between the two. The one that is nearer to the present, we call that simple past. So now we contrast. We take a look at the differences between present perfect and past perfect. When we said present perfect earlier, we used has or have plus past participle. You may want to take note of this. Or, on the other hand, for past perfect, we have had plus the past participle. Take a look at the difference. For present perfect, has or have. For past, use had. As in the example, for has, it has to be singular. So if your subject is singular, use has plus the past participle. If your subject is plural, use have plus the past participle. But with past perfect, even if it's singular, you should use the verb had and then add past participles. So had for both singular or plural. Let's have these examples to concretize the concept. She, singular, right? Singular personal pronoun subject. She has chosen a venue. Has, because singular, because the subject is singular. Chosen, choose, chose, chosen. Chosen is the past participle, right? Now, if we use a plural subject, we have chosen a venue. We is personal pronoun plural, and then have, because that's the one that we use for plural. We have chosen a venue. Now, on the comment section, please type, what do you think is going to be the form if we use past perfect? What if we say she? What could be the sentence form and the verb form if we use she as subject in the past perfect? She blank choose a venue under past perfect. I will wait for your responses. So far, I see responses from Chiki. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Chiki Mislang, Josel Castro, and Joanna Delfin. All three of you that I mentioned, you have correct answers. So we say she had chosen a venue. But if we're dealing with past perfect, it usually is accompanied by a simple past. So when you say she had already chosen a venue, that's correct. But in regular past perfect sentences, you have the word before, after, etc. And it comes with a simple past, like the term called. So she had already chosen a venue before we called her. So if you put that in a timeline, had chosen first and then called later, nearer the verb, or nearer than the word now or present. Very good. I see most of you answering correctly in the chat. Now, lastly, under the perfect tenses, we have the future perfect tense. And this one is really used by teachers, although we do not use it quite correctly in our forms or formal documents. This is action that will be completed at a specific time in the future. I think you'll get it when I show the examples. But the important term here is that a specific time in the future is mentioned. So in a timeline, now beyond the present, we have a future. The one in red is the specific time in the future. And then the space where the black arrow goes through, that's where we have the future perfect. What do we mean by that? So when we speak of the future perfect, you use will plus have plus the past participles. As in the time expression, by the time, you can add, by the time the store closes, by the time he graduates, by the time dinner is served, by the time she sleeps, so any of those. Or before, as in before sundown, before 2 p.m., before Tuesday, before next year. Or by the end of today's session. This one that I just highlighted, isn't this familiar? But we use this in our learning plans, right? Or even in the course syllabi, in our course outline, we write by the end of the year, by the end of the term, by the end of the semester, by the end of the trimester. So this one, I think many of us do not realize that we're actually using future perfect tense in our documents. Another one, by and then a specific time like 2020. By lunchtime, by 2020, by Tuesday, etc. So, first example, by the time he graduates, I will have spent 20,000 pesos on printing services Kaway-kaway sa mga people who spent so much in their thesis, revision, and editing, and spending time in the computer centers. Can you, I see a yes ma'am already in the comment section. So when we say, by the time he graduates, that's a specific time in the future. I will have spent. So we don't say I will spend, because that means sometime in the future. But this one, the action will be completed. By the time he graduates, I will have spent 20,000 on printing services. Some future perfect tense sentences are expressed in this case. So it's the flip form. So when say, by the time he graduates, I think parents would usually say this, no? By the time he graduates, I will have spent a fortune on printing services. So take a look at the formula. Future perfect is will plus have plus past participle. But there's a specific time expression. Let's have another one. By the end of the term, oh, I see so many people being able to relate to the printing services. Yes, we have all spent a lot of money on printing. By the end of the term, the students will have read. So even though the word is spelled read, right, it's pronounced read. By the end of the term, the students will have read all required materials. Or in your learning plan, by the end of the session, the students will have plus the past participle. Okay? So far, so good. I think future perfect is easier, right? Is it easier compared to the present perfect, past perfect differences? Comment section, please. So, just a quick review. Present perfect has or have plus past participle. Past perfect means had plus past participle. And then future perfect, what's our formula? Will plus have plus past participle. Okay? So you can take a screenshot of this now, or if you have been taking notes, very good. So these are the basic ones that usually appear in the licensure or even in the proficiency test. Sentence, he blank a lot before he gave up on her. I think those who are in love or recently heartbroken will be able to relate to this number. Is it has sacrificed, have sacrificed, had sacrificed, or will have sacrificed? Number 15. Thank you for responding. Sir Vincent Zabala, sabi ko na nga ba, tama talaga pag-pronounce ko sa read? Yes, sir, read. If it's past or past participle. Easier than the present perfect, in my opinion. Yeah. Thank you. For number 15, what should be our answer? There's a clue there, right? Take a look at the time expression. I see some of you answering letter A, some letter D, some letter C. Sige nga. Let's proceed. I will now highlight, maybe a few more. Eyes on the screen, everyone. It should be letter C. Why is that? If we take a look at the given, there's the time expression before, right? Before he gave up. And gave is simple past. And before the simple past action, meaning earlier in the timeline, before a simple past should be past perfect, right? So two verbs, sacrificed and gave. And then put in a timeline, sacrificed happened first. So we say had sacrificed. Very good. Many of you got the answer correctly. Let's proceed to 16. By midnight, she blank call him. What should be the correct form? Is it will call? Is it has called, had called, or will have called? Bryn says, Robiniel Galfo, there's a time expression before. That's correct. That's your signal. So, past perfect has the signal before or after. or there are two past form of the verbs. Type your answer for 16. I see some of you answering letter A. Sohaila di makaling. Ang hina ng signal ko. That's okay. You can still view the video in YouTube, right? Later. 16. Some of you answering letter A. Some of you answering letter D. We will see in a few seconds. You have a clue in the sentence, right? Eyes on the screen, everyone. The correct answer is letter D, will have called. And our clue is by midnight, right? There's a specific time in the future. You can imagine that in a timeline, right? And then the red arrow by midnight, and then the action should be completed by then. So when you say, she will call him later, that's okay. She will call him at midnight, that's okay. But when you say by midnight, there's a, I forgot the term, but there's a target. There's a target specific time in the future. Yes. Miss Charlene, you're correct. There's a clue by midnight. So that's a specific time. Thumbs up if you understood how we arrived at the answer, letter D, in number 17. Okay. Eyes on the screen. He blank not do his reports yet. Is it he has not done his reports yet? He have not done his reports yet? He had not done his reports yet? Or he will not have done his reports yet? Claire Hexen. Hi, ma'am. Thank you for giving this free lesson to us. Yes, you're welcome. Please make sure to thank Ma'am Mek as well. Number 18. What's your answer? Josel Castro wrote, Josel, that's letter A because of the word yet. That's your clue. Let me see. I see some of you answering C, but many of you are answering letter A. A and C, but more people answering A. Let's now check. The correct answer is letter A. When we speak of this sentence, the word yet is a signal, meaning from the past until now. Di ba present perfect is like that? Sometime in the past until the present. So here, your clue is the word yet. He has not done. We are not answering have because he is singular. So he should be paired with has. Very good. I think more people are getting the correct answer. Next, she blank 50 customers by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is it serve, serves, has served, or will have served? Number 19, type your answer. Is it serve, serves, has served, or will have served? Waiting for more responses to number 19. Some of you answering letter C, 19C, 19D. What else? Yes, more people answering 19D, a few answering 19B. You have a clue, right? What's your clue? The time expression in the sentence is, what's the time expression there? Your time expression is by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the correct answer is D, will have served. We're dealing with a specific time in the future. So in the sentence, the word by, sorry, I forgot to highlight the word by. It should be included there. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay? So that's the reason why we are answering future perfect. Very good answers? Yes. Now, before we answer number 20, can we take a 10-second brain break and please type in the chat the places that you are from. So where are you watching right now? I'm based in Iloilo City. What about the rest? Before we proceed to number 20, let me see. Loreto Agbayani, sir, you're from Kawayan, Isabela. Cherry from Cebu City. Karen from Tanza, Cavite. And Danica from Marikina. I see somebody. Ma'am Buenafe from Davao del Norte. Ma'am Jenny Lynn from Tarlac City. And let me go through. Wow. Kay Kabuyok, bayan ni Mayor Vico Soto. I'm a fan of Mayor Vico Soto. And then Jenilyn Silva from Negros Oriental. Abigail Katapang from Batangas. I'm sorry, I will not be able to announce all your names. But I see that so many of you, we're all over, no? From all over the Philippines. As far as Abra, no? Ma'am Deborah Talingdan, watching from Abra. And then Lilin Raquel Castillo, Pangasinan. I'm sorry, ma'am, if I mispronounced your name. Ma'am Juliet from Apayao. Did I pronounce that correctly? And then Ma'am Christine from San Fernando City, La Union. Wow. From, let me see. Miss Rachel Reyes from Nagcarlan, Laguna. And somebody from Riyadh. How do you pronounce your name? Kibs Baldago Tanlawan from Riyadh. And Fatima Dipantar from Sarangani Province. Ma'am Mek, wow, everybody from different places in the Philippines. Somebody from Maguindanao. Okay? Miss Christine Vasha from Antique. Mayong gabi, ma'am. Okay. So, I will go through your comments later. Thank you for telling me the places where you're watching tonight's stream. I hope you'll be able to come back tomorrow. So we only have a few items left. Let's finish. Eyes on the screen then for number 20. What's our answer? That was the blank event that I have ever attended. Is it bad? Is it B, badder? Is it C, worse? Is it D, worst? That was the bad event. That was the badder event. C, that was the worst event. Or is it D, that was the worst event? Eyes on the screen. The correct answer is letter D, worst. Our clue here is I have ever attended. Take a look at the present perfect. I have attended. So ever is a time expression. I have ever attended means from the past until now. So if you rank all the events that the person has attended, meaning many events, right? Then this one is worst. So 20 is letter D. 21. This one is heavy, heavier, heaviest, or most heavy than that one. Type your answer for 21. Waiting for responses in the chat, in the comment section rather. For number 21, the correct answer I see people answering 21B, heavier. Are there other responses? Yes, there are more responses coming in. You're correct. This time, it should be the one with the ER. You're comparing two things, this one and that one. And in your comparison, you choose the comparative form, heavier. So, when we're dealing with comparison of adjectives, mainit po ngayon, no? So ice cream is a timely image for our class. Positive form, all alone, stand alone. You're not comparing it to anything. And then comparative form, something which has, so you're dealing with two things. And in the superlative form, we're dealing with many. So on the screen and in the lower portion, you can see the sites where I got those images from. When we say positive, we're not making any comparison, just like the adjectives small, warm, and old. And we also have comparative, where we compare one thing to another, as in small, smaller, or warm, warmer, or old, older. And then, of course, for superlative, we compare something to all other things or to many things, as in the example, the smallest of them all. So the of them all is our clue, which signals that you're dealing with many things. Or the warmest I have ever experienced. Take a look at the have experienced, that's in the present perfect. Or when you say the oldest in the group, that means that you're comparing something or someone to the others in a certain group. So, just like regular adverbs, there are also regular adjectives, and some come in single or two syllables. So, the general rule is if the adjective has only one syllable, then we add er to make it in its comparative form, and we add est, the one highlighted in yellow on our screen. We add est to form the superlative form. So we say small, smaller, smallest, old, older, oldest. So here small and, sorry, I made a mistake in the first column. It should have been old only, not older. So old, older, oldest. Next. However, there are adjectives that have more than one syllable. This one has three syllables, right? Diligent. So 3 syllables. So we form the comparative and superlative forms by adding more and most. So we don't say diligenter, diligentest, right? We say more diligent, most diligent to have the comparative and superlative forms. Miss Christine is saying Mr. Barbosa is the oldest member of gurongpinoy. Hi, Mr. Barbosa, is that true? So, for the term beautiful, please type in the comment section, what are the comparative and superlative forms of the term beautiful? Waiting for your responses in the comment section. Give me the comparative. Type the comparative and superlative forms of the term beautiful. Miss Danica answered that the comparative form is more beautiful and the superlative form is Ma'am A, no? Most beautiful. So, here we have beautiful. Di ba we jokingly say more beautifuler, beautifulest? But in formal written English, we have to write more beautiful and most beautiful. Just like regular and irregular verbs, we also have irregular adjectives. So here, these words do not follow the formation of the superlative and the comparative by adding est or by adding more and most. This time you have to recall them or you have to remember them during the test. Type in the comment section, what's the comparative and superlative forms of well or healthy? In the comment section, kindly type the comparative and superlative forms of well and healthy. If we focus on well, I'm sorry, I did not specify now. Let's focus on the term well. Focus on the term well. What is the comparative form of well? Like when they tell you get well soon. What's the comparative form and the superlative forms? Ma'am Marilyn Salvania. Ma'am Marilyn, your answer is correct. Here, well, better, best. Ma'am Christine Acabo, yes, that's the correct answer. The comparative form of well is better and best. So here we mean something that's healthy. Other ones who responded correctly, Sir Sonny and Kibs Baldago Tanlawan. Chona, is that Raut? Did I pronounce that correctly? Sorry. So, well, better, and best. Let's have the next one. Many. What's the comparative and superlative forms of many? Waiting for your responses now. Many. What's the comparative form? Miss Danica answering first. How about the rest? When we speak of many, yes, that's correct. The comparative form is more and the superlative form is most. What about the next one? Little. Type in the comment section the comparative and superlative forms of little. Miss Brendalyn Bonayon, the correct answer is less and least. Your answer is correct. So little, less, least. Ma'am Marilyn Salvania, yes, your answer is correct. And for good, the last one, what's the comparative form and superlative form of good? For good, we don't say good or goodest, right? What's the comparative and superlative forms of good? We have good, better, and best. Okay, so this one is positive. For bad or ill, ill is the opposite of well, right? So ill, worse, worst. Bad, worse, worst. So just like the opposites of well and good. I see many correct answers in the chat or in the comment section. So now let's proceed. Eyes on the screen, everyone. For number 22, I wish I blank a house, a car, and $2 million. Is it I has a house, I have a house, I had a house, or I will have a house? Fill in the blanks for number 22. Type the correct letter, please. I wish, I has, I have, I had, or I will have. I see responses from Jas Adrales, Josel Castro, Ray Lobriguito. Did I pronounce that correctly, sir? So, more people answering letter B, some letter C. Are you all ready to see the correct answer? For number 22, it should be had. I wish I had. I'd like you to take note of this phrase for now. Later, I will also give you time to take note. I wish I had a house, a car, and $2 million. Don't worry if you don't understand the concept for this number. We still have the next slides to explain. 22, the correct answer is letter C, not letter B. For 23, I wish I can visit my grandparents. I could visit my grandparents. I wish I will visit my grandparents. I wish I would visit my grandparents. 23, type your answer, please. Waiting for your responses now. In the comment section, 23, some of you answering C, I wish I will visit my grandparents. Some of you answering B, I wish I could visit my grandparents. Maybe a few more responses before I reveal the answer. Eyes on the screen. The correct answer is letter B, could. I wish I could visit my grandparents. What's the concept here? On your screen, you can find subjunctive mood. What is the subjunctive mood all about? When we speak of the form of a verb used to refer to actions that are possibilities rather than facts. Meaning these, I think some textbooks would even refer to the meaning as contrary to fact. Contrary to fact, di ba, fact is true and fact is real. It's the truth right now. So when you say contrary to fact, meaning it's not true or it's not real at the moment. We also highlight the term possibilities, meaning they're not real and they're not true at the moment. When we say, I wish I had $2 million, everyone, eyes on the highlighted blue part. The verb use is had. I wish I had. Because if it were true, if it were a fact, then you say, I have $2 million. That's the reality right now. I have. But because it's not true, it's only a possibility and it's contrary to fact. Or as Cheeky in the comment section said, Cheeky Miss Lang said, it's only a wish. That's right. It's not true right now. I wish I had. Because if it were true, I will claim I have $2 million. In the example, if I were the president, I would. Take a look at the verb were and take a look at the verb would. Because I'm not the president at the moment, right? If I were the president, I will say, I am the president, I will. But because I'm not the president, I say, if I were. Contrary to fact, it's not true at present. I would, because I'm not the president. Thumbs up if you sort of understand what we mean by the subjunctive mood. Let's have more examples. When we say, I wish I could fly, I'm writing or I'm using the term could because that's not true. It's contrary to fact. It's only a wish. But if it were true, I will say, I can fly. So there's a difference between could and would. So in the subjunctive mood, it's not true at the moment. It's only a wish or it's only a possibility. Next, when we say, I wish I were taller, the fact is, when you say, I am taller now, or when you say, I am short, diba? When you say, I wish I were, that means I'm not tall right now. So pay attention to the verbs. I think, was that Rihanna who popularized, if I were a boy? That one has correct grammar. If I were a boy, meaning she is not a boy right now, she's a girl at the moment, or she's somebody who's not a boy at the moment. If I were. So other than wish, we'll concentrate on wishing first. In the comment section, type a wish using any of these that you see below. I wish I had, or I wish I could, or I wish I were. Waiting for your answers in the comment section. Beyonce, not Rihanna. Thank you, Miss Lillian Castillo. I have a class. So, waiting for your responses. I wish I had, I wish I could, or I wish I were. I don't see any comments for now. Kay Kabuyok says, I wish I could speak Spanish. Meaning right now you can't, right? And then Josel Castro says, I wish I had a new house. Meaning at the moment you don't have a new house. Or Ma'am Buenafe wrote, I wish I had a boyfriend. Meaning single at the moment, ma'am. Gents, please take note, Ma'am Buenafe is single. Is that free advertising, Ma'am Buenafe? And then Miss Chari said, I wish I could pass the LEP. Okay. And then another one, Charmaine, you said, I wish I could travel. Because right now you can't. You cannot, right? Raynar Lisa Gavina wrote, I wish I could go back to Canada. Meaning right now you cannot. And then for the gents, Sir Ray Lobrigito said, I wish I had a Mustang because right now you don't have it, right? Many responses, very good responses. Why is somebody wanting to slap somebody in this comment section? No violence, please. Okay. Miss Chiki wrote, I wish I had an ayuda. Okay. Yes, we all pay our taxes, so I think it's just fair that you sort of wish to also receive ayuda. Eyes on the screen. So when we speak of the subjunctive mood, other than wish, we also have these verbs related to it. So we also use suggest, ask, demand, recommend, require, insist, urge, or wish. As in these examples. When you say, I recommend, di ba we often use this word in school, or when you are visited by accreditors or supervisors or people from DepEd, you say, the accreditation team recommends that the teachers be given more time for planning lessons and marking students' work. Eyes on the screen. When you see recommends that the teachers be given. So it's a recommendation. You do not say that the teachers are given because right now they don't have more time for planning lessons, right? So they be given. Another one, insist. When you say the principal insisted that the accreditor visit the new building. So earlier we said accreditor is singular, right? So we have accreditor visits. But in this case, we're not using that. We say insisted that the accreditor visit. So the subjunctive mood, you can't just wing it in the let. You can't just say, kung ano ang sounds good, that's the correct grammar. Because the subjunctive mood proves this one. It doesn't sound correct, but it's actually technically correct. Accreditor singular, but the verb is visit. Okay, so we're done with today's session. I'd like you to type in the comment section, what did you learn today? From your notes or from what you can recall, please type, what did you learn today? So you may list as many concepts as you can from our session that started at 6 p.m. Now, please type, what did you learn today? Waiting for responses in the comment section. Still filled with wishes and some people buffering. Can you recall exact concepts or terms or words or grammar terms that you learned today? So I see Sir Win Ambasa. I learned from my mistakes. Medyo general, sir, no? Can you specify, please, which concepts you learned? Thank you, sir. Next, Kay Kabuyok says, tenses. Doon ako nag-struggle, but now much clearer. Thank you. That's nice to hear that this part of tenses is clarified. Charmaine, you learned about simple present. Shelby Shakor said she learned about regular and irregular verbs. Annalisa Ramos said she learned about the different tenses. Sir Rio Liguid, sayang ma'am, I'm late. That's okay. You can review. You can still review the video posted on YouTube or on Facebook. Ma'am Rosario Trina said, I have learned about the verb tenses. The same with Marilyn Salvania. Perfect tenses. Regular and irregular verbs from many of you. And then Karen Pisado wrote, I learned about collective nouns and different tenses. Daniel Carrera wrote, I learned a lot, especially the subjunctive mood. I think this is a good cool down activity. You trying to recall what you learned. So in our school, we call this exit card. You type what you learned from today's session.
Thank you so much, Ma'am A. I'm pretty sure they have learned a lot, no? Ang daming dumugo yung ilong. Siguradong
Sorry.
sigurado. Sa tarpaulin pa lang, no?
Sorry.
Okay, now please do make sure that you come back tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow po, we will continue with our discussion with Ma'am A tomorrow. But for tonight, of course, before we end, we are going to have our closing prayer. So please join me in our closing prayer. Samahan niyo po ako.
Lord, thank you po at natapos ang aming review sa oras na ito. Pagpalain niyo po ang Gurong Pinoy International. Sana mas lalong lumago at lumawak pa ang gawain na ito. Salamat sa mga ginagawa ni Ma'am Mek at Sir Ram para tulungan po kami na matupad ang aming mga pangarap. Kalakip po sa aming mga panalangin ang pag-iingat mo sa amin ngayong bagong linggo. Panginoon, maging mabunga po nawa ang aming mga araw. Sa pangalan ni Jesus, na aming Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ito po ang aming sama-samang dalangin. Amen.
Amen. All right, so again, this has been Coach Mac together with Coach A, Coach Aryan. This is Gurong Pinoy, and of course, we'll leave you the saying, malit pa na butil ng mga kaalaman. Ang dulo nito ay malaking kaginawan. Maraming salamat. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye! Take care, people!